Title: 5,126 Failures. The Most Stubborn Inventor Who Changed Everything. Duration: 10 to 12 minutes. 1. A man stands in his workshop holding a broken vacuum cleaner. He's just spent good money on a top-of-the-line Hoover. It was supposed to be the best, but within weeks it's already useless. The bag is clogged, the suction is gone. His name is James Dyson. He's not an engineer. He's not a scientist. He's just a guy who refuses to accept that this is just how things work. He takes the vacuum apart. He rips off the bag, and he decides to build something better. What happens next is one of the most insane journeys in the history of invention. It will take 15 years, 5,126 failed attempts, and it will almost destroy his family. But nobody in that moment could have guessed that this frustration with a vacuum cleaner would birth a company worth over $20 billion. This is the story of the man who failed more than anyone else, and won. Let's rewind. Before Dyson touched a vacuum, he was already familiar with failure. In the early 1970s, James invented something called the ball barrow. It was a wheelbarrow with a ball instead of a wheel. Clever idea. It won design awards. But here's the problem. Dyson had no idea how to run a business. He turned down investment from his friend Jeremy Fry and took a high-interest bank loan instead. Terrible mistake. The company drowned in debt. Then, his own sales manager betrayed him. The guy stole the ball barrow design and sold it to another company. Dyson was furious. He spent years fighting patent lawsuits. He lost. The company collapsed. He lost the rights to his own invention. By the late 1970s, James Dyson was broke, angry, and humiliated. But he learned something crucial. Never let anyone control your idea. While running the ball barrow factory, Dyson noticed something interesting. The factory used epoxy powder, and the air was always full of dust. To clean it, they used a giant cyclone, a machine that spun air at high speeds and separated dust using centrifugal force. No filters, no clogging. Dyson had an idea. What if you could put that same technology inside a vacuum cleaner? One day in 1979, after his Hoover broke down again, Dyson went into his workshop. He grabbed some cardboard, tape, and tools, and he built a crude cyclone prototype, less than a foot long. He strapped it to his vacuum cleaner in place of the bag. He turned it on. It worked. The suction stayed strong. No bag, no loss of power. Dyson was on to something. But making it work in cardboard is one thing. Making it work in a real product? That's a completely different beast. Dyson set up a workshop in an old carriage house behind his home. His wife Deirdre was an art teacher. Her salary kept the family afloat. Every day, Dyson went into that workshop and built prototypes, one after another, testing, failing, learning, building again. He didn't just test 5 or 10 versions. He tested hundreds, then thousands. Every single prototype taught him something. This angle didn't work. Airflow was wrong. That material cracked under pressure. This cyclone was too big. That one was too small. He kept a detailed log. Prototype number 1. Prototype number 200. Prototype number 1000. Most people would have given up after the first few dozen failures. But Dyson kept going, because he didn't see them as failures. He saw them as data. The years dragged on. 1980, 1981, 1982. His family lived hand to mouth. Friends thought he'd lost his mind. Why spend years obsessing over a vacuum cleaner? But Dyson couldn't stop. He was addicted to the problem. Then, in 1983, something incredible happened. Prototype number 5,127 actually worked. The cyclone spun perfectly. The suction stayed strong. No bag needed. After 15 years of obsession, James Dyson had cracked the code. But here's the twist. Having the perfect product doesn't mean anyone will buy it. Dyson and his partner Jeremy Fry decided they wouldn't manufacture the vacuum themselves. They'd learned that lesson with the ball barrow. Instead, they'd licensed the technology to an existing vacuum company. So Dyson went to every major manufacturer, Hoover, Electrolux, Black & Decker. He showed them his revolutionary design. He explained how it would change the industry. Every single one of them said no. Some laughed. Others said there was no market for it. A few admitted the real reason. They made millions selling replacement bags. Why would they kill their own business? Dyson was stunned. He had the solution, but nobody wanted it. Then came the ultimate betrayal. A company called Amway agreed to license his technology. Dyson was thrilled. Finally, someone got it. But then Amway stabbed him in the back. They cloned his cyclone technology and started selling their own version without paying him. Dyson sued. The legal battle lasted 5 years. He won, but it drained him emotionally and financially. His partner Jeremy Fry left the company. Dyson was back at square one, broke, alone, with a perfect product that nobody would touch. Most people would have quit. But Dyson had already failed 5,000 times. What's one more setback? He made a decision that changed everything. If no one would manufacture his vacuum, he'd do it himself. In 1991, Dyson found a partner in Japan. A company called Apex agreed to manufacture a limited run of his vacuum. They called it the G-Force. It was pink. It was weird looking. It cost over $2,000. And it sold like crazy. Japanese consumers loved it. The G-Force became a status symbol. Design museums featured it. Dyson started earning royalties. Finally, he had enough money to set up his own factory. In 1993, James Dyson opened a research facility and manufacturing plant in Malmesbury, England. He launched the DC-01, the world's first mass-market bagless vacuum cleaner. And it exploded. Within 2 years, the DC-01 became the best-selling vacuum in British history. People didn't just buy it because it worked better. They bought it because Dyson told them the story. The story of 5,000 failures. The story of betrayal. The story of a man who refused to give up. The DC-01 wasn't just a vacuum. It was a symbol of stubborn perseverance. Over the next decades, Dyson expanded. He built bladeless fans, high-speed hand dryers, hair dryers that cost $400, electric cars, though that project eventually failed after hundreds of millions in losses. But the vacuum business alone made him a billionaire. Today, Dyson's company is worth over $20 billion. His personal fortune is estimated at nearly £8 billion. If you walk into any electronics store in the world, you'll see Dyson products. They're everywhere. But here's the thing. None of it would exist if Dyson had given up after failure number 100, or 1,000, or 5,000. So what happened? James Dyson didn't invent success. He invented a process for dealing with failure. He lost his first company, and it taught him to never give away control. He built 5,126 failed prototypes, but each one brought him closer to the answer. He was betrayed by partners and corporations, and it taught him to trust only himself. When James Dyson went into that workshop in 1979, he wasn't trying to build a company. He was trying to solve a problem. But the process of solving that problem, the obsession, the stubbornness, the refusal to accept no, that's what built the empire. Getting rejected by every manufacturer wasn't a disaster. It was a gift, because it forced him to build something he fully controlled. 5,126 failures weren't setbacks. They were the foundation. And that's the real lesson. Success doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from failing more than anyone else, and learning from every single one.